All right, so this is our last lesson in our data module or data chapter, and it is going to talk about survey populations called random samples. So there's going to be two sections that you see here, and I have them highlighted in yellow. This should be a fairly quick little video to watch, and then you can go ahead and do the check for understanding. So there's three things that we're basing this lesson off of. Number one, a random sample is when everyone has an equal opportunity to be surveyed. Number two, a fair survey question is one that does not persuade the person taking the survey to answer one way or another. And three, a biased survey question is one that makes an answer seem better than the other. So you are going to, in the first section, we're going to talk about fair sample populations. Like if you're asking a survey, you need to know that you're taking that survey to people and they all have an equal opportunity to answer that survey. So in section number 1, if you want to survey people in your community to ask if they are a vegetarian, where would you like to take that survey? Where would be a great place to take that survey? And then why would the meat market not be a good place to conduct that survey? So let's answer question number 1. In the very first part, if I want to give a survey about being a vegetarian and I need to give an equal opportunity to every person I'm conducting that survey with, I can ask places like, I could be at the mall. I could hand out that survey at a park. I could, in Noblesville, we know we have the square. You could stand on the square and hand out that survey or actually just give the survey. So those are all public places where everybody has an equal opportunity to answer that survey question. So why, on the other hand, would the meat market not be a good place? Well, if you're standing at a meat market, most people there probably are going to pick up meat, maybe not for themselves, but their family, so you never know. But there's a good chance that those people are not a vegetarian. So most people at a meat market would not be a vegetarian. Therefore, it's not really a great place to ask that question. You plan to survey people to see who owns their home or rents their home, and where would you not want to complete this survey? So we're talking to people about who actually buy their house. They are not renting. So where would you not complete this survey? So if you know anything about living, you know that a neighborhood, most people do own their home, some rent. But an apartment complex would not be somewhere that you would want to ask people if they own their home, because at an apartment complex, you rent. And therefore, your survey would be very unfair and biased, because that survey wouldn't get very many results because they would all be the same. And the third question, a survey is conducted to see what are the favorite sports of students. What venue would be a good choice to do this, and what venue would not be a good choice to do this. So if you were at school, you're surveying students, so maybe the cafeteria. Every classroom in the school could take this survey. Obviously, we have the capability of Google Docs, so you could send out the Google Doc to everyone. And where would not be a great choice? Well, I would assume that if I'm standing at the football field and I am asking all the people at the football field what their favorite sport is, they might all say football field, because that's where they've chosen to go. So I would say choosing a specific sport venue to do this survey would not be a good idea. And your answer could have been a little different than mine. All right, so the next section in this lesson is called biased or fair questioning. So you have now picked a good spot to give your survey. You need to make sure that the survey question that you are giving out at this place is not what we call biased. Bias leads people to believe they should answer the question in one way. A fair survey question gives them an open-ended response to answer how they see fit. So we are just going to decide, are these biased or fair? So all your answers will be either biased or fair. Will you vote for the young and experienced 6th grader for student council president or the 8th grader? So I can already see they're setting me up to believe, why would I vote for a sixth grader if they're young and inexperienced? So I would call this a bias question. You never know. There might be a great sixth grade candidate, but if you word your question that way, it's going to lead people to believe the eighth grader is better. What is your favorite color of the rainbow? So they're asking about rainbow colors. They're not leading you to believe one question or one color is better than the other. So this is a fair survey question. Do you like the delicious food choices at Olive Garden? So although you might love Olive Garden, you should never tell your surveyor that they're already delicious. You're already leading them or inclining them to say, oh yes, I love Olive Garden. These are the best choices. I love it. And not a lot of people would say no because you're already telling them the food is delicious. And then if you just ask a surveyed group, what is your favorite restaurant? You are leaving this open to any type of response. They could say a million different places with this response, so this is a fair question. So on your check, you are going to do, in number 1 and number 2, you're going to talk about if it is likely or unlikely that this population given is okay. And then in 3 through 7, you're going to talk about bias and fair questioning.